welcome to another Retail Wire, where we have a roundtable of experts talking about a themed topic of the day. Today's topic is omnichannel, and I have three experts here on the stage. A fourth may be joining us in a few minutes. And the topic is what lies ahead for the future of omnichannel. And so a discussion's already been started on retailwire.com. You know, one of the facts I wanted to bring up from the article was that Gartner estimated that 60% of B2C brands will move toward a functional channel-less organizational approach by 2025. You know, this is kind of another way of saying omnichannel, channel-less. But the fact still remains that only 11% of companies feel like they have the technology prepared to do so. So to kick us off here, we have Ted McCaffrey. And Ted, what do you have to say about omnichannel?
So actually, if you looked at my LinkedIn, it's Omnichannel Champion. This is a game changer when physical retailers want to compete with Amazon. And when I was at eBay Enterprise, where I sold omnichannel to DSW, Abercrombie and Fitch, Payless, we got to host data from over 45 different retailers. And so someone like a Dick's Sporting Goods, we ran the website, we ran the fulfillment center, and we ran their omnichannel. So we got to see this explosion in digital volume and then how it was fulfilled. And then what happened is the DC eventually would push more fulfillment to the stores, especially during peak. And that's where we saw the magic happen. So Lisa and I were just talking about this notion that Best Buy, 40% of all their e-commerce orders are picked up in store. And so that is where the magic really happens. Lisa, maybe you could talk about that since you came from Best Buy.
I'm not going to speak to Best Buy specifically, but we do, working there, I do know that it was it's very important, right? You saw what an excellent job they did when COVID hit and they turned on their buy online, pick up in store. It was amazing. Got great reviews from their customers. So I think, we've seen Target was another one that we were talking about too. It's done an excellent job with the buy online, pick up in store. It's really seamless, helping their customers get what they need, when they need it, how they need it. If you have little kids, it's a really easy way to swing through and pick some stuff up. One of the things we talk about at our company, TPC, is we like to think of omnichannel as really almost like a symphony, right? So you've got all the different departments and players playing their specific instrument. Everybody knows their role and how to play it. Sometimes one comes to the forefront, sometimes something falls to the back, depending on how the customer wants. But it's all working together in concert. And that's what really is, a seamless omni-channel experience for customers. Because if you don't have that, if no one knows what their role is, and if they're working in silos individually, you cannot create this seamless omni-channel experience for customers. So really key when you're thinking about selling across, because, if you don't have that, they'll go somewhere that will.
Great points, Lisa and Ted. I completely agree with you about the harmonization and just coordinating with different parts and pieces of an organization. I think that's been a challenge that in our increasingly digital first world that retailers, legacy retailers in particular, are faced with, was A, how to start and establish an e-commerce presence and operating model, and B, how to actually integrate those two together with your brick and mortar strategy so it's a seamless experience across channels. And now, especially the last 5 years, with the proliferation of digital and social selling, live streaming, retail media networks, you name it, live video commerce, there's live streaming and so forth. There's all these touch points now that actually create so much more complexity that it really extend beyond what we know as omnichannel. And from a customer perspective, I don't think the average customer knows what the word omnichannel means. But what they do know is, was it a good experience? Was it a bad experience? Whether it's shopping, discovery, fulfillment, product returns, if those all work in harmony, like you said, Lisa and Ted, and there's data analytics and foundational things behind it, and the ecosystem's there. I'm going to throw a term out there that Michael Zakor keeps talking about, my good friend. It's immersive commerce, which transcends every channel. So there's definitely a big evolution we're seeing, and it's all about the customer and all the various touch points.
Really good point that you said the customer doesn't even know what the word omnichannel means.
No, they don't.
Yeah, and if it's done right,
no, yeah, we know as consumer, your strategy, technology, how often as a consumer you go to a store, wherever that friction is, wherever the counters are, you can see the broken processes as a consumer. Try to buy an order online, return it to a store. The ones that do it well, i.e. Best Buy, Target, have a QR code seamlessly attached to your, in your email or through the app, or there's curbside pickup, there's focus options. All these are the harmonization we talked about, Lisa and Ted. So those who don't have that, they obviously don't have the strategies in place. They're falling behind. So I know Scott's here in the wing, and so I want to hear his perspectives too.
I got to tell you, it's been so fun for me to continue to have this conversation about omnichannel, because for those of us that were around in the late 90s into the early 2000s, we're seeing today the things that we thought e-commerce could evolve to at some point. And it's humorous that there are videos out there somewhere of me having this conversation with somebody as recently as 2015, where there was still this concept that felt like it was out there in the future, but it hadn't yet happened. And if there was any silver lining in the horrible events related to the pandemic, it's that it caused folks to have to engage with a retailer digitally that they were used to engaging with in physical stores, and that caused this interconnection to be even possible, because even if you shopped in someone's store, if you shopped at a Best Buy, Lisa, or if you shopped at a Walmart, or you picked the retailer and you didn't have their app, didn't have an online account, the pandemic probably caused you to get one and to get those signups, where now at least the retailer had the opportunity to engage you in multiple ways. And then one of the things that I've seen more recently that a number of retailers have done is that they've connected a in-store purchase history and an online purchase history in a way that makes returns seamless. It makes reorders or rebuying something more seamless, particularly in food and beverage and that weekly grocery trip. They've just made it that much easier now, and we even have to give Amazon props for using some of their physical store partners. Kohl's is a go-to example for returns, or the fact that now you can walk into a UPS store with an Amazon return, and it's very, very seamless in terms of that. So all of those are examples of the things that we talked about 20 years ago as theoretical constructs that have now come to life. And the consumer is showing us that what we thought they might think is neat about that, what might cause them to embrace it, in fact, it has occurred, and that's the exciting thing. At the same time, I still think we have plenty of headroom as an industry to improve. And there's still both retailers that aren't doing it as well as they can, aspects of the experience that aren't as buttoned up as perhaps they should be, and taking advantage of it to use personalization to make more personalized promotions or recommendations to a consumer based on their prior browsing and buying behavior. There's still lots of headroom to improve, even though we started to see this day that we all thought was possible become mainstream.
Yep. So speaking to that friction, this is what I noticed. So we had at eBay, we had about 45 different retailers on our platform. So what I've got to see was how well they fulfilled those items from the stores. And one retailer in the months of November and December, that was 40% of their omnichannel for the year. So everything was pushed to that back end. Ironically, the worst inventory accuracy happened in those last parts of the year because they take the physical inventory at the first part of the year. So what we got to see is a thing called a pick decline. When you have an allocation list, so someone like a Dick's Sporting Goods would fulfill 400 to 600 items a day during peak for hold for pickup or ship from store. Their pick declines in those 2 months for over 50%, meaning what they thought was there wasn't there. So they canceled a lot of orders. They split shipped a lot of orders. We had a woman that I worked with, Star Finch, who had a little boy, and she ordered 26 items on Baby, Gap, and free shipping, and she got it in 6 different packages from 6 different locations. So figure $5 times the additional 5 shipments, and it was free shipping, so it just went right against their margin. So there's split shipments, there are order cancellations, there are people running around looking for items that aren't there, or worse, they're there and they can't find them. So that's where, I'm shameless to say it, but RFID enables a retailer to be able to scan their entire stores once a week and know what's there, so it's available to promise for omnichannel.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I think, is so interesting. So a lot of these, like Scott, you mentioned the whole pandemic and what it's done in getting customers, bringing them along to engage with retailers in different ways beyond the store. And I think as we get more and more technology and it progresses, I think it's really beholden to the retailers to make sure they're embracing that. So they do get, things like RFID, things like integrated planning, and making sure all of your systems are connected. The whole idea of a single customer record is really moving towards have to have, not want to have or optional to have, because customers really have an expectation that, you know them and you know what they want. Like we said, suggested things. There's so much that can be done, but it's really critical when you're actually shopping across different channels that you are talked to as that customer and seen as that one customer, to maximize their sales as well as to maximize the experience for your consumers.
Yeah, indeed. And I still, Lisa, I still get email and social media promotions for things that in no way would you logically think that I'm going to purchase. And my children are both in their 20s. I still get advertisement for baby stuff, and that day's gone. I still get things that either are different clothes than I would wear or items that I've never purchased. And so it's just a reminder that we as an industry have an opportunity to continue to refine, to use technology to improve the customer experience. And I think, the early days of personalization, there was a concern, hey, how do you know that about me? And why are you promoting to me exactly the thing that I was looking for on another website? That was a little freaky. Now I say the consumer has evolved to the point that they give us permission, as long as we use that information well, to make their life easier, to serve them better, and to continue to get emails for things that there is no reason I would ever buy when I know the technology is out there that connects in-store and online purchases and shows my behavior over time and gives me things that logically my prior behavior would tell you, yeah, he's likely to buy that. Is I think still the missed opportunity among many missed opportunities for us in the industry to really take omnichannel to a whole nother level.
Great point.
Agree. And especially with the rise of all the loyalty programs, they're literally saying, here's my information. I love you, retailer. Here it is. You want to be seen. You have that expectation.
And great points, Lisa and Scott. I think the true front strategy here, it's not only providing the consumer the choice, the options to see how they want the products fulfilled and how they discover. So a lot of it requires that perpetual inventory, real-time availability of inventory, and available to promise capabilities, which that's the holy grail for retailers. We've seen Best Buy, Walmart, Target, they provide and empower consumers online and their digital apps the options of, if you want to travel 125 miles away, you can go pick up today in the store, or you can have that store shipped to your home, or you can, whatever option you want. But the democratization of that process is really what's powering omnichannel and or immersive commerce or unified commerce, whatever you want to call it. But they want to make the sale. And while you're at the store, if a Best Buy associate doesn't have the item in stock, or if it's in Dick's Sporting Goods, they can seamlessly go in their mobile apps and they have the capabilities and tools, say, the store 20 miles from here has this particular size and product. We can fulfill it today, ship it to your home for tomorrow. So save the sale. So just as much you want to provide an outstanding customer experience, you need to empower an outstanding associate experience with the tools and capabilities to keep up with that digital first consumer who comes to the store and convert the sale, whether it's in store or through digital. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's going to be a sale.
And Brandon, would you agree that omnichannel has become the Amazon equalizer in a sense for the physical stores? In that Amazon Prime came out with the 2-day shipping, where the rest of the retail world was 5 to 7 days, right? So now you've got a local store that's shipping it. Now you can get within those 2 days, and then I think, Lisa, as they do at Best Buy, where 40% of all their e-commerce items are picked up in the store, that is where the magic happens. That's where they one up Amazon, in that you're not only going to pick up that item, but there's this thing called attachment rate, where some of these people, 30, 40% of the people who come in, they buy more. And that is where the profits happen. So your inventory accuracy better be right, especially with BOPUS. You can't get it wrong with BOPUS. You just can't. Yep.
Just to point to the evolution of Best Buy in particular, I was rooting for them, especially 7 or 8, 9 years ago when they're on the verge of bankruptcy. They were essentially going into a Amazon showroom. You go there, experience and try the products, and they don't have it in stock. They don't have the item, or it wasn't competitively priced, or you didn't get the good associate experience. You end up buying on Amazon in the store. So they actually turn that whole narrative around, and you're going to Best Buy with a purpose, and you actually research it online or discovered it somewhere else, and you there actually close with it through pickup in store or curbside pickup. So that's been a game changer for them.
Go ahead. And during the pandemic, getting back to that's no longer here, but Lululemon, they opened their stores just for their store managers to come in to fulfill that extreme volume of e-commerce orders that were being fulfilled. So it actually saved Lululemon in a lot of cases. Didn't save them. They've been doing so well through the years, but it really helped them satisfy the customer like there's no tomorrow. And so I think there's going to come a time right now, and again, with RFID, they're using these little handhelds where they scan their stores once a week, and Macy's does it once a month. There's going to be a point in time where they're going to want something up in the ceiling that reads it in real time, so that your BOPUS orders, what's there. Macy's had a problem where they held back, I think, $2 billion worth of safety stock for Omnichannel because they didn't feel comfortable promising it. Once they developed deployed their RFID, they opened up all that inventory for available to promise. So that was a huge deal for Macy's.
Yeah, it just shows how important that back of house, all of those processes across the organization really have to work, like I mentioned, in concert with one another, because if they're disjointed, the customer experience is going to be totally just disjointed. So we really need to have accuracy, real-time information, and it all needs to be integrated.
Yeah, and that kind of brings to mind the fact that so much of the discussion about investment in retail technology has been always converted into, well, that's improvements to the website or to the mobile app. And the fact is, what both you and Lisa are raising is investments in technology can be in the back office functions of you as a retailer, and or equipping your store associates with information, the ability to solve a problem for a customer. We're out of stock in this location, but I can have it shipped to your home, or our other location across town has got it. Can I reserve it for you? Those kind of scenarios are where I think a lot of the investment in omnichannel is headed. Yes, you want to continue to refine your digital experience. You want to continue to refine your in-store experience, but in some cases, it's just the back office functions where investments in the next few years are going to have to be made to bring about this better omni-channel experience, and in technology that equips the store associate, which is, to your point, Ted, earlier, that's the game changer against Amazon. Is if you have a store and you have a store associate that can use technology to solve a problem for you as a consumer, that's really set you up to be differentiated as a competitor in the omni-channel space going forward, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Because consumers really see retailers as a brand; they don't see you as Target.com and Target Store and Target and on Instagram or whatever. Who knows what channels we're going to see for the future? We talk a lot about TikTok shop, right? Is that going to be the next thing? Who knows? But we have to be ready for these things and making sure we know how consumers use the different channels and how they interact with the different points. So then you can connect the dots across.
Yep.
Make sure it's a consistent experience.
And Yeah, it's increasingly important now with the emergence of TikTok Shop and immersive commerce, video commerce, live streaming. We know Gen Z is there. We know they're interacting with videos. They're 85% or 80+% of content people view of that generation is video. And it's authentic. It's storytelling. It will lead to commerce. It will lead to discovery. They're going to look at clicking on buy now capabilities within TikTok or Instagram, and it better lead to a great experience. But to Ted's point earlier, RFID, real-time inventory availability, available promise, that'd be immediate and accurate and lightning speed, and the product can be fulfilled, and meet those expectations. But that's the future, and who knows what Gen Alpha is going to do in the future? Whether it's metaverse related, but it's not in that your ecosystem is not set up to handle the scalability and flexibility to fulfill orders, whether in store or digitally. You're already behind the eight ball because we saw QR codes take off during a pandemic. And I'm certainly we're going to see video, immersive commerce and live streaming take off in the next couple of years. Yeah. So I know Walmart's been in that space too, and they're on TikTok and they're doing live streams as well.
Right. Yeah. Right. And what's interesting, and I particularly noticed this in the grocery space, that much of what we've talked about and that we see as consumers is providing a seamless solution to a problem or a need a consumer already knows that they have. Where I think there's an opportunity is what those of us who are raised in electronics were taught is this concept of solution selling. In other words, providing a solution or a group of products and services that solve a need. And I still feel like that's an underdeveloped promise of omnichannel because, and I'll take the grocery space for an example. Yes, I know what products I want to buy in my grocery list. Can you solve that for me? Can you take my order and can you have it ready in the parking lot when I want it? Yes. Well, what if, I'm going to have people over for a football game tomorrow and I want to put together a food spread. What are the items? Or I want to prepare this healthy dish for someone who's got special dietary needs. And I think I see examples, but I don't see the broad implementation of omnichannel solutions where you say, here's the problem or the occasion or the issue that you're trying to solve. And here's all the products that support that. Click here, one button goes to your cart, and now I can go pick it up at my local store, whether that's a Best Buy store with a technology solution or a grocery store with an occasion solution. I still feel like that aspect of omnichannel is still, while we're solving some of these core back office issues, and we need to, they're foundational, there's still another level of performance available in omnichannel when you start proactively solving a customer's need, not just reacting to the things that they know that they need, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like we're talking about omnichannel enhanced with generative AI and AI capabilities to, if you integrate all those great insights and data in there to provide those recommendations. And then, like you said, point the consumer in the direction they need to go to solve their use case, and like you said, if it's a party or a Super Bowl party or whatever it may be, what are the things they need to do to solve that, and then connect to the retailers.
The whole conversation reminded me of a conversation I had with the data scientist on our team. And, we were talking about omnichannel, and he said, what I think would be really cool. Say you're part of your local grocery store's loyalty program, and they see that you're continually ordering the same things, every single week. Why aren't they coming up with, hey, we can just fulfill this for you. Tell us, of these, here's what we think you want. You check the box and it's just like clockwork, right? So you think of that's like the next level of buy online, pick up in the store where they're just like doing it for you. I just show up, pick it up. We're good to go, and then you can even expand further, increasing your list. And, oh, well, you know what? If you add these 3 things, you could make this recipe, things like that. You're really taking data and doing it for them and really building very strong brand loyalty. I would be excited if someone did that for me. So
big time. If you think you've heard of Scott Galloway. I don't know if I love that guy. He talks about this notion of e-commerce, algorithmic commerce. And he said, someday you're just going to get a tote every day from Amazon that's going to have the things that they think you want and the things that you want. And then all you do is whatever you don't want, you leave it there and they'll pick it up the next day and you'll get credited for whatever you didn't pick up. but they're going to send those things to you knowing, and that's where physical stores should be able to have the same data. And I think that's what people wanted, that type of response from the retailers. They want you to know who they are, and they want to react in real time. So that's kind of a cool concept.
Yeah, that makes me think of the ease of returns, because they, in that case, Ted, they'd pick it up. But if something's shipped, a lot of people are buying 10 shirts online and then knowing they'll just return 9 of them.
Yeah.
And so the ease of return, it's like it does bring some challenges, but it also brings the customer into the store.
Yes.
Is that opportunity being leveraged right now in the way that you think it could be leveraged?
Well, from my standpoint, when we were working with DSW, they actually like the returns because 65% of their e-commerce returns came back to their stores local to the customer. And that gave them another opportunity to show their products in their stores. And so for them, it was another opportunity to interact with the customer. You just look for visits. You want as many visits as possible. Think about it. Kohl's takes back Amazon's junk in order to get visits. And I hate to say it that way, but they do. And so the more you get people to come back via BOPUS, via veterinary services at Walmart, whatever it is, the more you get them to come back, the more you build your brand if you perform well.
Getting your customer to go to the UPS store or the post office does not help you.
No.
If you're Amazon, because if you made it easy, that's great. But if you're thinking about omnichannel as a retailer, no, you want them to come and you want to Ted's point, let me serve you in our store. And oh, by the way, is there anything else I can help you with while you're here? That's part of the promise of omnichannel beyond the individual transaction that I think a lot of retailers are just starting to unlock that value.
Yeah.
But I think that's also where the humanization comes in. That's right? You're coming in the store, talk to people, visual merchandising creates that, I need to buy XYZ. So it creates that whole different experience that you really can't get from Amazon.
That's the differentiator. If you aren't capitalizing on getting consumers back into your store, Best Buy and Dick's Sporting Goods and a few others do this very well. They make it extremely seamless for you. There's a dedicated area for BOPUS and returns right by the front entrance. It's a QR code enabled. You show your phone. You don't have to print anything out anymore. You have to show emails. And while you're in the store, that usually it's a very compelling offers in the front of the store. You might want to buy something else. So if you're a retailer and you're in the game and you don't have the capabilities to attract the consumer back to your store with a frictionless return to engage them and show them new products and have more discovery, then you're failing and you'll fall behind the best breed right now.
Yeah, Brandon, and it feels like that so much of the evaluation of omnichannel in the early days was a transactional, God love accountants, view instead of a lifetime value of the customer view. And the several of those points, a lot of retailers are now learning about that engagement. I can tell you, not confidential information from my Walmart and Sam's Club days, both Walmart and Sam's, we knew that if a customer or a member, in the case of Sam's, engaged us across channels,
yes,
there wasn't a metric that customer wasn't more valuable than one that just engaged us in physical locations or online, whether it's frequency of shopping, average purchase, likelihood to, in the case of Sam's, renew their membership, lifetime value. And I think that's the lens through which a lot of retailers are now starting to look at omnichannel is, yes, the transactions have to be profitable. Yes, we have to make sure that we're being good stewards of our company's resources, but we also have to look at it through the lens of lifetime value of a customer, retention, loyalty, all of those lenses, as well as transactional. I think a lot of us looked at Prime in the early days and thought they've lost their mind. There's no way they can make up enough on free, on what they're losing or free shipping to justify that. And we were all wrong because, as it turns out, they got a level of loyalty out of that. And now, as you bring that into more omni-channel retailers, the math looks a whole lot better when you consider lifetime value, not just evaluating individual transactions.
Yeah, and you know, when we were working with Dick's Sporting Goods with eBay, and we had, as I said, we had their Omnichannel, we had their fulfillment. We just enabled them to have BOPUS, and I tested it. I ordered something, and I went to my store. I checked at the kiosk, and I just happened to turn to this person that had a little walkie-talkie on, a little headset on, and he gave me a look, and he knew it was me. He walked up to me, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yes, you can." So that right there is the epitome of being a customer that, look, you're a customer, you're valuable, and I'm going to take care of you right now. Now, that doesn't happen all the time, but it just so happens like, wow, it felt good. It just felt good.
As we talk about, there's lots of conversation about malls, and our malls remain relevant, that sort of thing. And that's where Omnichannel, I think, still has a lot of opportunity, because the physical design of most malls dates back to before e-commerce and before that. And a lot of well-meaning department store chains have got, store pickup opportunities out there in the parking lot. But it doesn't feel like malls and mall-based retailers have completely figured out how to do omnichannel right, whether in the physical design of the facilities or the experience, Ted, to what you're talking about. And they were known for a level of service that's what made, or will continue to make, some department stores relevant in this century. But it's, what I wonder about sometime is will malls, in either remodeling or in any construction of new malls, change their design to make omnichannel more easily done, the way that a lot of the companies we've talked about, whether it's Dick's or Best Buy or Walmart or others, they can change their own stores pretty quickly, but malls have not changed their infrastructure or their experience in a way that really befits taking full advantage of omnichannel, in my view.
I'm hearing that push-pull between, maybe when omnichannel first started, it really was, let's make a fast food lane, and that's it. And then they're thinking, well, this is an opportunity. They're in the store. It costs us how much to advertise to get them to walk through our door, where this acquisition can be happening, and we're missing that discovery point, I think, that Brandon was saying. So if you go too far into fast food lanes, you're going to miss that other opportunity of lifetime value. And now when I interviewed the CEO of Sweetwater, which is an online retailer of music instruments, he said this was one example that connected the dots for me. They had a customer calling who was really mad about a product, something was broken, and they found out later in the conversation, it wasn't even purchased at their store.
Yeah.
Well, they empower their employees to fix the problem almost no matter what, right? To a certain level of permission, right? And so they just replaced the part, and that was
Nordstrom does that, right? They used to do that. They were really legendary about that. I'm sorry,
so they're timeless. You mentioned Nordstrom; it's a timeless thing. This is customer service 101, and right. Now it's just like you go through the storm of new technology, a new environment, new behaviors. Oh wait, we're back at customer service 101 again.
Yeah, but now, Chase, it's customer service enabled by technology, not supplanted by technology. Right. And I think that's been the change in the narrative of the thinking, right?
Exactly. So many good takeaways. Any final thoughts on this before we wrap up?
I think everything has to be done in service of the consumer. Everything has to be customer-centric, customer-first. And we've all four of us, and I would Chase, you too, have been talking about this extensively, about technology for it's purpose-driven, value-driven, not only for the customer, but for the associates. And that empowerment is just as critical. So they're on equal ground to fulfill it and drive that discovery process. And to Scott's earlier point, move from a transactional, let's get the item in and out of the door, the customer in and out of the door, to a relationship, to a lifelong value across any channel. The customer is channelless. The customer is always connected. There's no dial-up the internet. There's no connecting to a modem. Everyone has smart devices well over 10 years now. So this is the world we live in now. So.
Yep. Indeed. And just real quick, the numbers, Target fulfills 95.6% of their e-commerce volume with store inventory. I just saw that the numbers with Walmart, 50% of their e-commerce volume from store inventory. There's a company called Zoomies that closed their fulfillment center, 100% of their e-commerce volume from the 700 stores. So stores have never been more valuable because of omnichannel.
Such a great conversation. We'll do some more of these, and I appreciate all of your time being here.